Well, good Monday to you. I would be lying if I told you I wasn't quite frustrated this morning. And it's one of those days where you look at weather forecasting and go, well, let's put it this way. It's kind of like the stock market. Stocks don't always go up. I'll tell you this about models. They don't always get snowier and colder. Sometimes it goes the other way. And we've seen that trend yesterday. We saw it a little bit the day before. We saw it last night. The NAM was our glimmer of hope if you were looking for snow in the east. But today, I hate to tell you, my friends, it's trending away from snow if that's what you want. If you don't want snow, you might be a little happier. However, it's not the case across everywhere. Everybody's not seeing less snow. We're starting to see the odds of seeing more snow looking likely here across Kansas, northwest Oklahoma, southern Missouri, and I think you got to watch northern Arkansas as this moves off to the east heading into Tuesday. The problem with this storm as it continues to develop as it heads east is your upper low is way back here. Connecting these two is becoming incredibly more and more difficult the more you look at the models and the newer runs that come out. So, I don't know. I mean, if you don't connect these two, you're not going to get a big snowstorm, at least up and down the East Coast. However, this is still looking really impressive here across parts of Missouri, also into Arkansas, and I don't know. This looks kind of odd to me here into West Tennessee. This is the GFS. We're starting here, and then I want to go over to the European. It's still trying to put some snow into Tennessee. I think things get a little bit questionable once we get here into Tennessee, and then especially here into Virginia. Now, the trends have definitely been to push things further to the south of D.C. I was reading some of the discussion data that the National Weather Service put out this morning out of D.C., and they were talking about how the best chance for snow just continuously goes further and further to the south, almost down into southeast Virginia, into the Carolinas. Either way, once this moves by, what's interesting is this cold pool of air aloft that's going to move overhead, and we're going to see some snow showers. And that's not to say there couldn't be a few heavy bursts of snow, but an East Coast riding snowstorm is looking less and less likely this morning. So I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news if that's what you're hoping for, but if you're not, you're welcome, I guess. Here's the European. This is also dropping your heavy snow in Kansas, east into Missouri. Get ready, guys. You're going to get some snow tonight. Multiple winter, or I should say, really heading into early Monday morning into Tuesday. It starts light here as our Arctic boundary drops south, but it really is Tuesday night. I said tonight, but it's Tuesday night. That's when it's going to really start to pick up here into Missouri, northern Arkansas, and it's so close to St. Louis. I mean, it's so close here, at least on the edge of the heavy snow. The problem is going to be that, to me, it looks like it's just to the south, if that's what you're hoping for, at least the heaviest banding of snow here. This continues to push off to the east, though, as we head now through Wednesday into Thursday. Low pressure trying to get its act together along the Gulf Coast. The problem is there's just not the upper level support. The models have been trending that way. They did overnight, continuing to show that this is not going to phase. What does that mean? Well, that means you're not going to get a big low that rides up the coast. Last night we were looking at the NAM. It was the outlier. It was the only model of hope. Today, it's starting to sing a bit of a different song. A little bit closer look at the European. There's that heavy snow moving through parts of the Mississippi Valley. Again, the European still trying to put a little bit of snow and maybe some mix here into North Mississippi, southern Arkansas, northern Louisiana, maybe even the northern parts of Alabama. But to me, the heaviest snow looks right here along the Kentucky line, a couple of inches of snow here. We're not talking about a foot of snow now. Certainly if you don't connect up a storm with your upper low way back here being held back. And now your storm isn't going to develop until it gets really off the coast, and it's going to want to go this way because it's just not phasing with that storm. However, this still keeps you in the game for some heavy snow into North Carolina. I know everyone isn't watching north of D.C., so if you're in the Carolinas into southeast Virginia, you might get a little weird surprise snow here still out of this, regardless, as low pressure develops along the East Coast. I wouldn't trust it just yet, but it's getting close. I want to show you how the NAM has, I don't want to say caved, but that's kind of really what it's doing. I said last night the NAM is a horrible model at 84 hours. It really is. But the idea that it now, I mean, last night it had a low. Once it got here off of the South Carolina coast, it started to do this number because it was really getting tugged at by this upper low. I should say it was really tugging it like this. So today, because this is a little bit further to the west, the influence is less. And instead of the low being here, it's here. And that's a huge difference, right? A big difference with your snow moving into the I-95 corridor. So I would say things look less snowy, at least trending that way from this line north. Still looking decent here into eastern North Carolina, southeast Virginia. And also, I think you watch Richmond. You watch even further to the west. Now, unfortunately, if you're hoping for snow into the mountains, we've had a lot of snow. I try not to take sides of whether I want snow or not, but it's been absolutely devastating with the flooding into Kentucky, West Virginia, even into parts of Tennessee. This is just adding insult to injury here. We really don't need any snow. I'll go on a limb and tell you that here. So maybe a bit of a glimmer of hope in this part of the country. Let's look at some of the numbers. We'll start across Kansas and work our way east. A decent snow up in Nebraska. Some areas could get 2 to 4 inches of snow, but those numbers go up 6+ once you get into central Kansas, especially into southeast Kansas. Now, up towards Kansas City, the official forecast is for 6 inches, so it's easy to see how you could see a solid 4 to 8. And then the further south you go, those numbers definitely jump up. Down into Oklahoma, some snow here too, especially across the northern part of the state, and it's going to be a very cold, powdery, fluffy snow too that can blow around really easily. Further to the east, snow totals, these are official forecast. Actually, that's the NAM. I want to show you that first, and then we'll flip over to the National Digital Forecast Database. The NAM trying to put, and by the way, within about 24 to 36 hours, I do like what the NAM is putting out. Beyond that, it gets a little iffy. You're showing almost 9-10 inches of snow across central Missouri. If you go back to the forecast database, again, these are our touch numbers, and we head east into Missouri, a little bit more. So the NAM is actually backing off on these snow totals when you compare them. The forecast still for 8, 10, 12 inches of snow here across southern Missouri. Very impressive. Up towards St. Louis, look at that. That heavy snow band, to me, still looks just to your south. I think you get some snow out of this, but the heaviest banding looks here across central Missouri, southern Missouri, really almost right along the Arkansas line, very close to Arkansas. Once we get into Tennessee, those numbers start to trail off just a little bit, and then we kind of lose the forecast at this point, not going out quite far enough in time. But you get the idea of where the snow is falling. Let's head just a little bit to the east. We'll take the NAM out a little bit further, and look, it's really almost trying to skip here into the Appalachians and then develop more snow here into southeast Virginia as we head out in time through now, into Thursday. So, maybe an unhappy morning if you're wanting snow this morning on the model data into the northeast. What happens beyond this? Are we done with winter? Well, I'll tell you one thing. We're getting a strong February sun, right? So once this storm moves by, yeah, the sun may be strong, but we got an incredibly cold polar air mass building into the country with temperatures well below average. Some of you may actually be seeing some of the coldest air of the season so far, especially across the Central Plains. This is going to modify pretty quickly as this high pressure heads to the east and south, just with the sunshine, the strong mid to late February sun, and then we start to calm down as we head toward the weekend. All right. Now we're watching for some showers to develop here into Texas, Louisiana, moving east. I don't know that we're going to get this moving north, and we stay kind of chilly here into the northeast. More rain and snow for the Pacific Northwest. We stay unsettled here into the northeast with a bit of a trough still digging in here with more snow showers, maybe even some rain showers. And then our next system, it looks almost like a clipper system diving in from the northwest with this trough. That's going to bring more rain and snow here, I think, to the Great Lakes and into the northeast heading into next week. So we're now looking well over a week away. I don't know that I would believe any of this, but it still looks like we stay active heading into March. Maybe not as cold, clearly, because you're getting late in the year. Cold air on the way for the east. Look at this week, these temperatures. Heading into Tuesday, this would be your probably close to your maximum highs on Tuesday. Below zero across Iowa. Definitely still feeling like winter here with highs well below freezing. And then look, it gets even colder as we head into Thursday, into Friday. No big warm-ups just yet, at least this week. Looking further to the west, how about this into the Central Plains down into Texas? Look at that cold air pushing way into Texas right there. Highs on Wednesday with the sun. It's going to feel a little bit warmer, but we're still talking about numbers that may not get above freezing. And then this continues to push off to the east with below zero temperatures in the morning, teens and single digits for highs across the Central Plains, and that moves east toward the Great Lakes. And then a little bit warmer, maybe by the weekend. So, a lot to look at. Thanks for watching. If you're just jumping over, it's a live stream. It'll be available for complete playback. I appreciate you coming over. If you're a new subscriber, thank you so much. And if you're looking for a perfect meteorologist, it's not me, not I. I spent several years in television, was a chief meteorologist, and did that for years. But I can tell you, it's not an exact thing here, forecasting, right? It's never going to be. So if you're looking for a perfect meteorologist, it's not me. But I'll do my best. Promise you that. And I'll always shoot straight with you. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.